Welcome to Game Master Monday, the podcast that plays a new one-shot in a new system with a new cast every episode. I'm your Game Master Grant, and today we are playing And They Were Dortermates by Jessica Markram. And today we are joined by the full cast of Damsels in Dicestress. Hi, everybody.
Hi!
Very excited to play this crew today, one of my all-time favorite streaming channels. Let's talk about who everyone is today. Taya, who are you?
Hi, in real life, I'm Taya Cambell and my pronouns are she, her. And today I will be playing Matilda, Sister Matilda, whose pronouns are also she, her.
I'm in real life Maijai Hibberd, pronouns are they, them. In game, I will be Sister Florence, whose pronouns are she, her.
Hi, I'm Morne Putman-Trimmer. My pronouns are they, them, and I'll be playing Sister Sarah, whose pronouns are she, her.
I'm Lyndon Rufus Winters. My pronouns are he, him, and I shall be playing, should have written this down, Sister Marigold. And I guess her pronouns are she, her also. She's never thought about it.
I like the thought that Sister Marigold just hasn't thought about her pronouns, which kind of checks out.
Yeah.
I'm so very excited for this. I also love that everyone's like, in real life, this is me, and today, maybe I'll channel that same energy in our day-to-day lives. Let me tell you what the game we're playing here today. This is And They Were Dortermates. It's a GM-less game where our players are a cloister of nuns working in a convent that is on the verge of dissolution. They are also secretly in love with each other in one way or another. This game is played with blocks and cards. It's a narrative-driven game where players draw cards to answer certain prompts and further their stories together. For our audience's benefit, we will only be playing with the Heart and Club suits here today. Heart cards will lead our nuns to ponder and act on matters of the heart, and club cards will lead our sisters to describe daily life in the convent. However, if any of our characters pull the Ace or Queen of Hearts, they must confess their true feelings to a fellow sister. Ordinarily, we'd also be playing with a block tower, but since we're in an audio format, we've kind of homebrewed this version of the game. It's going to be a countdown system instead. Our nuns will have until Christmas Day to settle their affairs, and time will pass by rolling a d6. Now, I mentioned this is a GM-less game, but I will not be serving as a nun character today. Consider me more a referee, a guidepost, a scene setter, or the unseen hand of God guiding our nuns through their day-to-day. The unseen hand of God, ordinarily a villain character for the Damsels in Dicestress, but today a helping hand.
It's a nice change.
With all of that out of the way, are you all excited?
Yeah, I'm so excited.
I'm scared.
I don't know what's going on.
You don't need to, Sister Marigold.
The three big emotions: excited, scared, and unsure. Here we go! It is a cold, wet, and dreadful December 1st. A lot of December 1sts are cold, wet, and dreadful, but this one carries a heavier burden than it would ordinarily. While Christmas trees and nativity scenes go up, you also know this will be the final month that the Sacred Order of Our Lady of the Blushing Trinity will be open. Your convent dissolves at the end of this month. So while there is an excitement and a spiritual energy of the holidays surrounding you, so too are these thoughts. This may be the last time I do this chore. This may be the last time I wear these robes. This may be the last time I enjoy a warm meal and a roof over my head. This may be the last day I'm on Earth. This may be the last chance I ever have to tell them. The Sacred Order of Our Lady of the Blushing Trinity is a modest monastery. Standing at 3 stories tall and resembling a schoolhouse, your convent was built with salmon-colored bricks, pearl-white doors and window ceilings, and a love of the Lord. Within the confines of the convent, you have the following chambers. Your bedrooms, study chambers with all manner of theological and philosophical writings, the chapel, the garden, a maintenance closet, Sister Marigold's office, and the kitchen and dining room. You are all cloistered nuns, so you don't interact with the people who come to visit. You've only known each other, your fellow nuns, and of course, Sister Marigold, who is who I want to put our focus on here first. Sister Marigold, tell me a little bit about yourself. How old are you? What do you look like? What's your whole deal?
Okay, so Sister Marigold is 107 years old. She's confined to a Victorian-era wheelchair, which in my mind is a very high-backed wicker chair with little tiny wheels on it. Sort of it's not like, you're not pushing that around with your hands on the big wheel. You're pushed around on it, just to different locations, different windows with different views. Or the fireplace, of course, where she spends a lot of her time. She's a chain smoker, which she puts down to her longevity. Along with a love of organic produce from the cloister gardens. It's 50-50 which one is giving her the longevity. She's not willing to give just in case. She probably
50-50
stands
chances,
around 4'6", I would say now. She has a small pair of half reading glasses that are they're wider than they are tall. They're very thick lenses.
Nice.
She uses that for reading her Bible, which is custom made for her. It's about 2 feet wide with extra large print so that she can see it all. And that's her treasured object that sits underneath the wheeled chair. Whenever she needs it, someone will go and get it for her and turn the pages. It's all very proper. She's got very short cropped hair, but of course you wouldn't know that because she wears all of her ear over the head, the stuff. And she's quite quietly spoken. She's a lady of few words these days.
I love her instantly and immediately. I love her instantly and immediately. Now, Sister Marigold, you have clearly spent the most time here at this convent, and there are you care and love for all the nuns who come through, but there's a trio in the convent that you've been particularly concerned about.
Oh, I do have my favorites.
Who doesn't, am I right? And we're going to take a brief walk down memory lane for the first round of our story here. Sister Marigold, if you would you do us the honor of pulling the first card of the game and just let me know what you get?
Oh, I got the Queen of Hearts.
No way! Okay, the Queen of Hearts, as we earlier established, means that you must express your true feelings towards a member of the convent. As we know, everyone has their favorites. Sister Marigold, December 1st is upon us. It is the final month the convent will be open. Which of the nuns in your convent are you the most immediately wanting to speak with?
Oh, you're all here, I see. All 3 of you, all at once. That's very handy, because I wanted to speak to all 3 of you. Now, I know you're all a little bit worried about what's going to happen at the end of the month. But I'm just here to tell you, you don't have to worry. Everything will work out. Now, it's no secret that you girls are my favourites. Sweets? And she holds out her little hand, and there's 3 sticky little sweets in the palm of her hand. A little bit fluffy, a little bit hairy. And her little tiny grey hand comes out to offer them over.
All right, thanks.
Thank
take
you.
one.
Sister.
I'll take the one that's like the least fluffiest.
I'm gonna
little.
dip it in whatever drink I've got in my hand, clean it off a bit, and then eat it.
I'm gonna subtly pass Florence mine to do the same with.
I'll do that. Hand it back.
Oh,
I put it in your mouth.
I just put it in my mouth and suck on it.
Maijai, who do we see cleaning off the candies? Who is Florence? What's your whole deal?
Florence is 23. Quite tall. She's like 5'8". She's got long, light brown, slightly curled hair. And yeah, you would definitely see her hair because she doesn't keep it all hidden because she doesn't care enough. And yeah, she's probably like adapted something that she's wearing so that it fits nicer.
The bad girl of the convent, if you will.
Well, I didn't say that, you did.
I'm just making implications. Taya, as the candy pops into Matilda's mouth, tell us about Matilda. What's your whole deal? What do you look like?
Matilda is also tall. She's sort of for a Victorian woman, kind of stands around the same height as Florence. The difference is that you can see that she's trying to keep her robes together more nicely. She also has like masses of curly blondish hair, but she's trying really hard to keep it covered. I think there's like a few strands that have escaped still, nevertheless. And she has very strong aristocratic looking features. She stands very upright, but she does blush a little bit when the sweet goes in.
And Morne, without participating in the ceremonial washing and delivering of the candy, just popping it right in your mouth, tell me about Sarah.
Okay, so Sarah is 24 years old. She's around 5'4", 5'5"-ish, with long dark hair and quite dark eyes as well. She is wearing her clothes quite casually, like they're kind of similar to Florence. It's a bit disheveled, unkempt, but there is like an element of that she has at least tried to put them on properly. It just hasn't worked out.
Sister Marigold, they have all accepted your sweets. They are not even making attempts to hide the fact that one of them is feeding the other one. The floor is yours to reassure them, answer questions about the convent, deliver how you feel about these girls as the month begins. I leave it to you. What do you tell them? What's the most important thing on your heart right now?
Now, girls, I see the worry in your faces. Fear not. The Lord is with us always. That's what they say.
I hope he's not always with us.
What was that, dear?
Nothing, Sister Marigold.
Very good. Now, I can see you probably have questions.
Have you heard anything of what's to happen to all of us? We still do not know if we are being sent to other convents or what is to be done with us.
Well, I suppose that Father Archibald will be taking over that when the time comes, and he'll no doubt organise all of you for new convents or wherever it is.
But we'll all go to the same one, right?
Oh dear, I can't promise that.
What's going to happen to you?
Oh, don't you worry about me. I'm right where I need to be. She takes out a cigarette.
I put my hand out.
I also put my hand out.
Well, just this once. Lights a little. That'll be a match, wouldn't it? Because
Yeah.
it's very young.
I'll help you.
No, I do it.
No.
And I'm going to take it from your hands and do it before her. And then I'll light yours for you.
A long draw of her cigarette or cigar, whatever they smoked back then.
I'm going to light mine on the end of yours.
Now you'll promise, wherever you go, you'll spread the good word and teach others what I've taught you.
I always teach others what you've taught us, sister.
She does.
Very good, and I've taught you all about gardening.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. Keeping all the beds nice and...
Best manure to use.
Yeah, and all the plotting and yeah.
It's not human manure.
Well, no, of course not.
It's not. Some people will try to trick you. It happened to me once. 4 years I spent crafting my own manure. All to find out it was a practical joke.
Oh, did the flowers grow though?
They did grow.
Oh.
But I've never pulled a practical joke on you girls.
I'm suddenly doubting the sweet that's in my mouth.
Yeah.
I'm gonna like pull it out and look over it and make sure that it's like normal.
They haven't invented lactose yet. You've all grown quite close together, haven't you, in the years that you've been here? I've seen.
Well, you know, his teachings say to stay as close to each other as you can.
Yes. Yes, he does. He does, yes.
Yeah.
Which is why we're so concerned about being separated.
And if that's where the Lord sends you, there's always letters. I've taught you all to read and write if you didn't know already. Sister, I know you came here highly educated.
But the education you've given me has definitely been the most valuable.
That's very kind of you to say so. I'm just glad I could do my part. But Sister Florence, of course when you came, couldn't read a dot, could you?
No,
But look at you now.
couldn't have done it without your help.
I'm so proud of you. You know the Bible like the back of my hand.
I remember everything that you've taught me about it.
Good. Good. Why don't you remind me of your favourite verse?
My favourite verse that you've ever taught me, sister,
Yes.
is it's not sin so long as we keep our socks on.
I don't quite remember that one. Is that
We're looking out in the park. You said that it was dirty if we took our socks off, so we had to keep them on. And you said that that was from the Bible, remember?
Yes, we must. I think cleanliness is next to godliness is the one you're riffing off there.
Oh, probably.
Very good. Very good. And you, sister?
Sarah.
Always been my favourite, along with these two equally.
It doesn't quite sound like your favourite then, does it?
I think that I should be the favourite, considering that I've been here longer.
All of you have been here, but just a butterfly's breath in the wind compared to me.
You're so poetic.
You know, I wasn't born here, but I was unceremoniously dumped as a baby on the church doorstep, and I've been here all my life. I go into town now and then, or at least I used to, back when I was a young whippersnapper like yourselves. These days I am, of course, much more comfortable here by the fire.
Can you tell us your most exciting story?
My most exciting story? Well, that would be the Christmas of 1798. I remember George III was on the throne, I believe. And quote me on that.
How am I gonna know?
It was an awful winter, of course. I remember the snows now when we all had to really huddle up for warmth together.
I've heard it keeps you warmer if you take your clothes off.
I believe there were some occasions where we had to have skin-to-skin contact for maintaining body warmth. Of course, it was all above board.
Of course. Mm-hmm.
I remember I had a favourite sister back then, too. She was more my age. It was respectable back then.
What was her name?
Oh, her name was Sister Magdalene. Of course, Magdalene being quite the name of someone back then. Of course, she was not like her namesake whatsoever. She was of pure heart, of beautiful red hair, and soft skin.
Would she have seen her hair?
Well, I think that was something to do with the being skin to skin.
Lovely girl. We spent many a winter night just reading the Bible and keeping warm together.
I'm sure.
What happened to her?
Well, of course, the pox came through the year after. We lost many. It was very sad. But anyway, happier times now, I suppose. Apart from the convent closing.
Yeah, that's not very happy.
But you girls are going to be off on an adventure. Who knows where you'll be sent? It's something to look forward to, I'm sure. You don't want to be stuck here with an old fuddy-duddy like me.
Of course we do.
We love you very, very much.
You're our favourite.
Oh, and I love you all so much too. I've come to think of you as almost daughters rather than sisters. I'd always wanted a child of my own, but of course in the convent that's not really a thing.
Well, you were always like a mother to me.
And me.
You were more of a mother to me than my own.
Oh goodness, you shouldn't speak like that about your own mother.
Remember, respect thy elders and stuff.
I respect Sister Marigold with all my heart.
Thank you, dear. I just hope that I've given you the tools and education you need to make your way in this big bad world without me. Not that I'm going anywhere, of course. Fit as a fiddle, me! Ha ha ha!
Of course. Not going anywhere at all. And your day is kind of spent in this nostalgic haze, if you will, having your nice chat with Sister Marigold, kind of reflecting on anything. Everyone knows the beginning of the month is never a day to get things done anyway. So we're going to advance the clock here on the convent. So if you would roll a d6 for me, let's see how many days pass.
1.
A single day. Not too shabby.
The next day.
The next day happens, and it is now December 2nd. The rain is still coming down, so a lot of your chores will likely be on the inside part here today. And we're going to have Sister Sarah pull our card and have her navigate our next scene.
9 of hearts.
A 9 of hearts. So not an ace, not a queen, no confessions to make, but with a heart card, this would be your opportunity to dwell on matters of the heart. Is there something in the convent that happens with a fellow sister that furthers your story together?
That's something that happens with 2 sisters in particular.
You can also bring both the sisters along. So, you're going to be in a scene here with the 2 sisters. Who are you bringing along with you?
Oh, it's Sister Florence and Sister Matilda, of course.
Of course, who else would it be? Where do you find yourselves on December 2nd on this rainy day?
I reckon that we're just in one of the bedrooms.
What time of day is it?
Early evenings, and it's quite dark outside, obviously, because of the time of year, but maybe 6 or 7ish.
An early evening, likely after dinner was served, retiring to your rooms for the evening. Is there anyone in particular's bed you're sitting on? Are you on your own? Are you all together? What's the arrangement here tonight?
I believe we're all sat on Florence's bed. She seems to be the bed we tend to go to. Frequent, yes.
Then I turn the scene over to you, Sarah. You just enjoyed, or maybe you didn't enjoy, who am I to tell you how to feel, a day of work in the convent, all working together. You may now discuss whatever you did today. Something could occur between the 3 of you. Your scene to navigate, Sarah.
We're sat on the bed, smoking, and talking about our day. So, guess what I found in the chapel today?
What?
Another rat.
Would you give it to Chef? Or cook? Wouldn't have called them Chef.
I thought about it, but I figured we deserve something better than a rat.
Well, that's probably true.
It's quite skinny as well. Wouldn't have fed any of us. There was something about it. I was thinking, the rats here are quite sweet.
Are you suggesting you're going to miss the rats?
I am suggesting that actually. Back at home,
Sarah.
well, back at home, the rats were humongous, and
It's because they were well fed.
yes, to our detriment.
Sarah's souffle.
Stop it, you know she doesn't like that.
I
Sorry.
detest that.
Sorry.
Yeah, as it scurried along its little pink nose, and I thought,
You're making it sound rather sweet.
I'm never going to see a rat like that again.
You
And I know,
Well, we've still got for 29.
true, and I know it's silly.
Sister Marigold wasn't great at teaching.
I know it's silly to be sentimental about a rat, but those tiny things that make this place so quaint.
Oh, don't say
rat.
that we have anything to do with it then.
Well, you know what I mean.
Well, no, apparently the rat ranks higher than we do. I thought I'd shown you quite a good time here.
Yes.
Florence and Matilda, I'm going to kind of lean you this direction here. You see your fellow cloister mate, your daughter mate, your sister here, struggling with the loss of even the ugly bits of living in the convent. And I'm gonna kind of just put this question out in the ether for you all. Is there something from your former life or something uglier from your former life you'd like to share with her?
I'd rather take the rats than some of the French nobles that my father was pushing at me.
Well, at least you weren't in the
Give you-
workhouse.
Sorry. You know I don't mean to.
No, it's alright.
It's just some of them had quite ratty faces.
I think we should tell them next time we see one. Just for
Next time we see a French nobleman.
Well, you never know. Maybe we'll be sent to some French convent.
Gods, I hope not.
What?
Why are you looking at me
Why
like
are
that?
you looking at me like
Well,
that?
because you're looking at me. Alright, I'll miss the rats as well.
So strange. I mean, we never even wanted to come here, and thinking about the rats.
I'm glad you came.
Me too.
Don't mind. I'll miss it though.
You go to bed. I assume nuns go to bed early. I don't know. We'll just say they do. Dreams about rats dancing. Maybe that one play that you were allowed to see in your previous life, Florence, about a rat king comes to your mind. But we move on to our next scene. Go ahead and roll the d6 for me there, Sarah. We'll see how much time passes.
One day.
Another one. We're gonna do the whole calendar year here
It's
on
gonna
the
be a
show
long
today.
episode, guys.
We could just be like, it's one again. Oh, would you look at that?
Oh, we're having so much fun. I can't believe it's one again. Can you believe it? One is fine. December 3rd, the rain finally starts to clear up, which means you're able to go back and do outside chores again, walk around the garden, take care of the front steps if needs be. And Florence, go ahead and pull a card for me.
6 of hearts.
You once again get to make a subtle pass and advance your story with your fellow sisters. It can be 1, 2, 3, whatever you wish. Where would Florence be, and who would she be with this day?
So I think it's really early in the morning, sort of before breakfast, before all of that, and I will have woken up and realised that it's not raining anymore. And I will have grabbed the other two, and I will have told them to hurry up and get dressed, and I will have pulled them outside, making sure that they didn't have any socks on or any shoes on, to just stand in the garden with me, to stand in the still dew damp grass in the garden.
What now?
Well, there are several things we could do, but I thought we could just stand and enjoy it for a bit. Make sure that nobody else comes by.
It's cold.
I've heard that taking your clothes off can warm you up. I'm going to miss this garden. That was the first time I saw you.
I suppose it was. It's the first thing I saw of any of this convent.
Did I ever tell you that she was out gardening with all the children?
No.
Punishment, I think you said?
What were you being punished for?
Being an embarrassment to society. My parents thought that it might serve me good to do a day's labour at a convent and speak with the nuns, and that perhaps some of their godliness might rub off on me.
And I'm sure our godliness rubbed off quite well.
I went home that night and told them I wanted to take the vows. This one day of gardening, how silly. It was peaceful, even if I was with local children.
And have gardens like this back at home.
I was just wondering if there will be any more gardens. Don't know if they all have gardens. Certainly they won't be taken care of as well as Sister Marigold takes care of them.
No. Still not entirely given up on this one.
What if we just refuse to leave? No?
I'm sure they'll have ways of removing us. We need to find something in writing, something in the planning. Now, I suppose we're sinning. We've taken our socks off.
As you say you've taken your socks off and you're standing in the garden, you've mentioned Sister Marigold likes to frequent and take care of the garden, and who should happen upon you but Sister Marigold?
Oh. She just appears behind you in her wheeled
Yes.
on the grass. You don't know how it got there.
There's nobody else.
No one's pushing her.
You girls are all up early.
We thought we'd come and enjoy the weather without the rain.
It's a nice, crisp, blue sky, isn't it? Reminds me of the day that you first arrived, Sister Sarah.
Oh, really?
It was a clear day, I believe. Cold, too, just like this one. But, yes, a cold day.
You remember so much.
I'll tell you, I've forgotten more than I can remember. Cigarette?
Thanks.
No. Do you have any for me?
And I'm just gonna reach into the pocket on the chair and pull them out.
Oh, you're such a good girl. Takes out, strikes a little match, or tries to. Just,
I'll take it and light it for you.
oh, that's very good of you. What would I ever do without you all?
We do the same as ever, which is I light Sister Sarah's cigarette and then I light mine on hers.
You all enjoy a smoke on the lawn. Seems that Sister Marigold has chosen to either not see or completely overlook your bare feet in the garden, and you go about the remainder of your day. Go ahead and roll that d6 for me, Maijai.
5.
A 5. A solid 5 days pass. We go into a whole other week, practically. Matilda, go ahead and pull it.
I just pulled the ace.
We love the Ace of Hearts in this game. So the ace, of course, as we mentioned earlier, means there's no hiding, no beating around the bush. You must confess your true feelings to one or both, or all three, of your fellow sisters. So it's December 8th. A full 5 days have passed since you all stood barefoot in the garden, had your discussion on things past. Where would Matilda find herself today?
So I think that in any free time that she has in those last 5 days, Matilda's been in any of the sort of study spaces, quiet spaces, looking through records and looking through any documents that might give her any sort of hope at saving the convent. And I think that she's been in there for, however long her quiet time's been, and she's sort of going in circles looking over these documents, and she's not finding any of the things that she's wanted to find. And so I think she gets up and she goes to seek out Sister Marigold. Where would I find you?
I would find today, of all days, of course, Sister Marigold at the end of the garden in the cemetery area. She's just sitting there on the pathway, smoking, next to a particular gravestone of. It's all rubbed off. You don't even know the name anymore. She sits there.
Sister, it's me. I'm here.
Ah, Sister Matilda. You look worried.
Well, I've been trying to find something, you see. I've been trying to find a way of stopping it, because
Rufus of the young.
Well, there has to be something. And if I am to be honest, sister, I cannot stand by and watch the safest, most precious place I have ever known be destroyed for nothing. I'm not afraid to admit that I do not understand the reasons behind it, and I will not accept it. And I won't accept leaving you.
There. Sister Marigold reaches out and tenderly takes your hand in her tiny little old hand.
I'll squeeze it very lightly.
The skin breaks.
Very, very lightly.
Oh, Sister Matilda. I've always admired your strong will. I'm afraid that these sort of things are out of the hands of mere women such as us.
But I thought, when I came here, when I first met you, I thought that this was a place where we could decide things, where we could be in charge for once. And I don't want to leave that, Sister Marigold. I don't want to leave you.
Oh, you won't be leaving me, don't worry. I'll be with you. As for the rest of the things you say, it's true. This has been a fortress of solitude for us all, I suppose. But, outside these walls, of course, other politics are at play, far above the means that I can intervene with. Life simply goes on.
How
You must be strong.
is it that you just accept these things? Because I don't know how to do that, and maybe I'd be happier if I did, but...
Well, it helps to be 107 years old, I think.
I'm not sure I'll manage that. Who is it that you're... I'll sort of nod towards the grave.
Ah,
Is it your...
my good friend, Sister
Dylan?
Magdalene. Yes, in my old age, I still haven't forgotten her name. We were best friends for a time.
I'm glad you experienced that.
Yes. You've grown quite close to your friends, haven't you?
I have. And I have you to thank for that. You and this place.
Oh my. But you, of course, haven't allowed yourself to,
What?
well, to be led into temptation.
I don't think so.
Because in my time living here, I've seen in these sequestered walls where people think they're not seen, people allow themselves to slip. But the Lord is always watching. More importantly, the Lord forgives all.
Yes. And I'll squeeze your hand again.
Everything's going to be just fine. You can trust me. I'll keep an eye on you.
I hope so. And I'll stand with you at the grave for as long as you want to be there.
I'll turn my attention back to the grave and allow a little whimsy to pass across my face.
And so it does. You stand at Sister Marigold's grave for quite a while, reflecting on friendship and temptation, if you will. And before you know it, the day is up. Go ahead and roll that D6 for me there, Matilda.
6 days.
Another week passes. Season's greetings, all you holiday enjoyers out there. It's me, your Game Master Grant, here to spread some holiday cheer by telling you about some cool things you should be enjoying right the hell now. Starting with our friends over at Minds Never Matter.
Welcome to the Crit Award-nominated Minds Never Matter podcast. We're a group of 5 friends running a narrative-driven homebrew campaign based on 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. Our current campaign follows 4 budding adventurers: Emilia Victosolis, the paladin noble with a not-so-heart of gold; Pogo Stardust, the hard-working barbarian doing his best to become a wizard; Cecily Belgariam, a bubbly cleric with the same vibe as a homeschooled church fanatic; and Sarthelian Grey, the charmingly self-centered rogue with more problems than his aim with a dagger as they take on one of the most stressful challenges of their lives, becoming college students. Taking place on the continent of Divi Totem, which is comprised of 7 unified regions, our party comes together after being enrolled in the Adventuring College of Elona, the centermost region in Divi Totem. The college is known for training some of the top adventurers in the world, and each of our quote-unquote heroes have their own motivations and reasons for coming to the school as freshmen. As the 4 begin to bond as a party and get used to their newfound independence at the school, weird things start happening that may indicate there's a much larger threat than midterms looming on the horizon. You can listen to Minds Never Matter wherever you like to listen to podcasts. You can also keep up with us by following us on social media. You can find us on Instagram at Minds Never Matter Podcast, Twitter at FlayYourMindPod, TikTok at minds.never.matter, or you could even send us an email at mindsnevermatterpod@gmail.com. We have a lot of really cool stuff right on the horizon that we're so excited to share with all of you. Thanks so much, and go Mind Flayers!
I've said this a lot, but I'm very, very picky with D&D podcasts, and I'm a big fan of Minds Never Matter. Very fun team. I love a show that has the energy of good friends who trust each other telling an exciting story together. You can really tell the chemistry and the vibes are immaculate at this table. Go check them out. They're friends of ours and Crit Award nominees. So, that's 3 good reasons to enjoy a good podcast. And hey, while I have your attention, we are also doing a live mini-series this month over on the Game Master Monday Twitch channel. Join us for The Festive 3, a Dungeons & Dragons supplement created by Boss Jellybean, who we are running this series in sponsorship with. Join our Dungeon Master Jenny Noradine as she guides you through the festive realms with a party of holiday lovers and holiday haters. This is going to star Freddie Powers, Mozzarella, Rose Tears, and Spunky Taylor in a chilly, festive Dungeons & Dragons adventure. Again, that's the Festive 3. It is starting tomorrow, December 3rd, on our Twitch channel at twitch.tv/Game Master Monday, starting at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. It's going to be a fun time, and we're raising funds for the PCRF. Alrighty, now that that's out of the way, put your habits back on, straighten your rosaries, and let's get back to And They Were Dortermates. Welcome to December 14th. A mere 11 days until Christmas comes. And as the abbess of the convent here, we'll go to Sister Marigold to see what this particular day has in store for us. Go ahead and pull a card for me there, Lyndon.
Another heart. A 4 of hearts.
So, for this particular round, with hearts, when a heart that is not the queen of the ace is drawn, you also have the option to describe something you love about your fellow sisters but can't confess, or you can write them a letter, or you can pull them together to have another heartfelt conversation. It's been a heavy 6 days, and while the crowning event of the convent is Christmas, there is an absolute gloom hanging over everything, especially with the news that Matilda had to deliver that there's absolutely nothing they can do to save the convent. So as the convent's leader, Sister Marigold, what is your move here today?
My move? Well, since we don't have to keep too much of an eye on our food stocks, I've organized, not a party, that would be a little bit too much.
Frivolous.
But certainly we've taken to a sort of feast day of sorts. We've cooked up a lot of the vegetables that we've been storing and stuff, and just like a nice cooked meal. Everyone's gathered around. You know, it's almost a repeat of Christmas Day, but like early. So lots of roasted vegetables, a big hot stew for everybody. The fire's been banked up nice and warm in the main hall-y kind of area, just to allow a sort of spirit of congregation to grow, and everyone can just be warm. And we've taken out a little of the ceremonial wine, a couple of bottles, because of course we're well known for our brewing in this convent. A lot of mead gets made, and some wines from some of the grapes that we grow, which we have often sold in town to help tidy our economics along.
Lovely. There's a beautiful feast laid out for you. Go ahead.
She sort of sits, she doesn't do any of the talking anymore. She's never up giving a speech. Some of the younger to her sisters are sort of in charge of giving those sort of daily preachy sort of stuffs. So she just sits by the fire, and people come and go and sort of talk to her, and she gives little words of wisdom now and then. But she's fairly content just sort of looking out and watching the convent smile a little.
Sisters, I will give that to you. Sister Marigold has been sitting patiently, whimsically, and observantly to herself. So if there's something you want to come up and say to her specifically, either one-on-one or as a group or as a duo, this would be the time to do so. You've also got good food and wine in you today, if you choose to have it.
Sister Florence chooses to have a lot of it.
Sister Marigold notices. She sees all. It's a haze, obviously, because she can't focus more than like 2 feet in front of her. But she sees.
You guys notice that, like, I'm drinking quite a bit as well, but usually when I drink, I'm very jovial. You can see there's some sort of distance here today, but that's all.
Sister Matilda is not drinking, which I think all 3 of you would know. She's not drank since she's come to the convent.
Oh, I don't know about you. Sister Marigold's being weird.
What do you mean?
You're really pretty.
You're really pretty.
She's weird. She's weirder than, normal weird, right? She keeps saying these things about, like,
I'll always be there. And like she has always said that, but that was she's always there. You know, she's always like you turn around and what? She's there. But like she's not going to be there if we're all in different places. What does she mean? She's always going to be. I'm scared.
Are you suggesting that you think that Sister Marigold is dying?
I mean, how old is she?
107?
Seven sounds right.
Sorry to put this bluntly, but she probably should have died 20 years ago. So no wonder.
Sarah.
107, it's an unusual age to
It
reach.
is a long
She's
time.
the oldest woman I've ever heard of.
I'm going to walk over to Sister Marigold.
What's your secret?
My secret?
Yeah. What's your secret?
Well, when you get to my age, you have a lot of secrets.
Right, but how did you get to your age?
Your secret for living so long.
Also, what's your biggest secret? I'm so intrigued.
Well,
Matilda's like shuffled closer to here.
come closer.
I'm going to like pull the cigarettes out the side of your chair again and light one for you.
Oh, thank you, dear.
And then give one to you and then take one for myself.
I'm gonna push the glass of wine that's like next to me at you, at Sister Marigold.
Ah, hot. My favourite.
I thought so.
It really keeps you warm in the winter months. And trust me, I've had some cold winters. Of course. What really keeps you warm in the winter is friendship.
Yes, we followed your advice of keeping your friends as close as you can, especially when it's cold.
Well, that's good to know. Now, as for my secret of longevity, well, I believe just healthy living. Eating all your vegetables from the garden. And a little cigarette won't hurt either. Good for the lungs.
Oh, you're going to die early.
Oh, don't speak like that, young girls. I'm sure you'll live to a grand old age just like the rest of us.
I'm going to pass you my cigarette.
I'll take like one puff and then give it back.
A lot of coughing and hacking afterwards.
But
That's just the toxins leaving the body.
what's your biggest secret?
My biggest secret. Oh. Well, I remember spring of 1824, I believe it was. We'd had a harsh winter. It had been cold, mighty cold. Not as cold as the winter of 98, but cold nonetheless. And we'd all been forced to spend most of our nights together. Mighty cold.
What's so secret about that, Sister Marigold?
Sorry, what?
We were asking about secrets. You said that was your biggest secret.
Ah, yes, the secret is eating all your vegetables.
Okay. Sister Sarah, I've got a secret to tell you. Should we... I don't want anyone else to hear. Should we go?
All right.
You can hear as well if you want.
Well, if you want me to.
But I wouldn't tell anybody else.
Oh, I see, I'm being left out.
Well, it's a surprise for you, so you won't know the secret.
Oh, I do love a good surprise. You run along, girls. Don't do anything I wouldn't do.
Wouldn't dream of it. And as we run to the bedroom, now we've got to think of something to get for her.
Well, we ought to really anyway, if it is going to be the last time we see her, our last Christmas with her.
Well, don't be thinking sad things now. We're supposed to be having a good time, Matilda.
Fine.
Unless
But
you're
we do
sad.
need to think of something to give her now.
We'll give her a warm...
We'll what?
Of course, as these girls all ran away, what they don't realise is that Sister Marigold kept talking to herself as they
course.
went away. It's spring of 1824. And that was when I met, of course, Sister Sister Elizabeth, yes. Now she was a goer. If one was having religious doubts, she would set you straight, that's for sure. Oh, they've gone. Never mind.
You leave Sister Marigold, you share your secret with the group. The day went by so quickly here today. Everything about this day felt kind of final, but you know there's still more days to come. Go ahead and roll that d6 for me.
A 3.
3 days past December 17th is where we find ourselves now. Traditionally, around this time is when winter will officially begin, and it sure does here in Dickensian England as the first snow of the season starts to fall. And Sarah, go ahead and pull your card for me.
10 of clubs.
First snow of the season. You get to describe your daily life in the convent here. What is Sister Sarah's job when it starts to snow?
Well, quite often her job is to kind of just sweep away all the snow, like clear the they wouldn't call it a driveway, would they?
No.
Just like the area where
path.
the path like towards the door.
Yeah.
She shovels that. She's got quite strong arms. She used to work in a bakery, so she's got a bit of strength to her. So shoveling the snow, clearing the path, it doesn't really faze her all that often. Today she's quite distracted as she shovels the snow. She's not really looking at what she's doing. There's a couple times she almost slips on the black ice, but she gets on with the job, thinking to herself.
With the club suit, this is not going to be a day where you get to see or interact with your fellow sisters prior to going to bed. What are you distracted thinking about? Or rather, who are you thinking about even?
I'm distracted because I know that the convent is being dissolved very soon, and just think about how much I'm going to miss my friends.
While you clean up the snow that just keeps falling as if God himself is mocking you to make sure you have a full day's work today, across from the convent, you can't interact with these people, but you will see a young-looking couple just walking together in the snow, one holding an umbrella for the other. Man and a woman, the nuclear couple, if you will. And they just seem to be smiling, enjoying themselves, having this moment of connection with each other while you are alone, shoveling snow, wondering what will happen to you, what will happen to the others. What would your reaction be?
I just think how lucky I am to have not just found one person that I love dearly, but two. It's such a privilege to have that experience, and there's a bittersweetness because I love them very, very much, and I'm yearning to see them. I know that it's not going to last forever.
So few things do. Go ahead and roll your d6 for me.
2.
2 days.
Yeah.
We go to the 19th. The 19th. The snow has been relentless. Florence, poor Sarah, has been out there every day shoveling snow. Go ahead and pull your card for me.
3 of clubs.
A 3 of clubs. So while Sarah might be the snow shoveler, what is Florence's job when the snow has been going on for 3 days?
I think Florence works like to keep all of the like bed sheets clean, and she is like folding them up and like dries them out by the fire and like keeps them all nice and makes sure they're all like
she just spends all day like cleaning people's bedrooms basically, and like putting either like washing the bed sheets, putting them out to dry, or like folding up all the laundry in people's clothes.
What part of the process is enjoyable for her?
Well, especially in the winter, they dry the sheets and all the clothes by the fire. So once they're dried, she gets to like sit in front of the fire and like just fold the clothes, and they're nice and warm, and it keeps her warm. And she just gets to like think and be cozy and think about all of the like cozy times that she's had.
As you're contemplating the cozier times, you will receive a knock at the door of the monastery, your fireplace being relatively nearby the door. No one comes to answer it, but would you answer it?
Yeah.
Tell me about someone who came to the doors of the monastery hungry.
So a young-ish girl comes up to the door, and she looks cold and grubby. And I answer the door, and well, she asked for some food, and she said that she was cold. So I brought her in and sat her by the fire, and I will have gone and got some of the food from the kitchen, just like some of the stuff that I knew wouldn't be missed, and like a small, like a glass of something nice that we have that's not port, because I'm not going to give that to a child.
Come on.
Old woods.
I know. But she maybe like heats it up so it's like a sweet but hot, like spiced drink, and she brings it over and sits with this girl, and tells her the story of when she was brought in very much the same manner of she showed up and knocked on the door, and Sister Marigold answered and brought her in and gave her port and food, and that she was allowed to stay. And then she apologizes for the fact that she's not going to be able to say that this girl can stay because we don't get to be here anymore. But that she really hopes that she can find some place that will let her in. And she like wraps her up in one of the, I'm assuming that there would be like a cloak or something that we would have had when we were going outside.
Sure.
And she wraps her up in one of those that's been hanging by the fire. And after like making sure that she's fed and drank, says, if you can't find anywhere else to sleep tonight, come back and we'll put you up for as long as we can, but it's best to try and find somewhere that you can settle in for good. And sort of like sends her back out, but with the invitation that she can come back for as long as we're allowed to let people in.
And so she goes. And that will be your day in the monastery, getting to pay it forward, if you will. Go ahead and roll your d6 for me.
Ooh.
2. The 21st, the week of Christmas, is upon you, and we are going to shift over to Matilda. The snow has finally started to let up, and we'll see what happens with your story here today.
2 of clubs.
A 2 of clubs, another chore day for the sisters here. So what is your day-to-day responsibility? This is the week of Christmas, so you probably have a different batch. What are you working on today?
So I think now everyone's very much getting ready for Christmas Day and wanting it to be as beautiful as it can be, knowing that it's going to be our last one. So I think that Matilda is kind of gathering like boughs of fir to like hang like kind of garlands around wherever we eat, and you know, making sure that we have like candles ready and like festooned in like these little boughs of leaves.
You're decorating for Christmas, making sure everything is up. With Christmas time, typically the thought of music or the sound of music is filling the chapel and the halls here. Do you have a favorite Christmas flavored hymn or prayer? Do you sing or recite it while you're working on these things? Are you a whisper kind of person, a hummer, a full voice kind of person?
I think she just hums quietly to herself, and it's just like a silly Christmas carol from when she was a child, the kind of thing that her and all her siblings would like sing together in the nursery when they were little and they were getting ready for Christmas. And I don't think she's necessarily aware that that's what she's doing. I think it just kind of comes out on autopilot. Because usually, you know, if she was to be singing something, it would be one of the hymns or one of the more religious songs. But what comes out of her instinctively is just the like silly children's Christmas song from when she was little.
Is it the kind of song where if Sister Marigold were to overhear it, you'd be a little reprimanded for singing a non-religious tune to yourself, or do you just enjoy the moment?
I think she's just enjoying it because I don't think she's even aware that that's what she's doing. But I think she would be embarrassed more than anything if anybody else like commented on it.
Fair and valid. The last question I'll ask for you while you're setting up for Christmas, what is Matilda's plan when the convent goes? Because of anyone, Matilda probably has the largest safety net if needed, but would you want to take that safety net?
Yeah, it's something that's been weighing on her mind really heavily, especially the closer we get to Christmas, because she knows that if the worst comes to the worst, she has a home and she has food and she'll have people who will provide for her. But she desperately does not want to go back to that. And she's been hoping and saying in her prayers to get reassigned somewhere similar, somewhere with a similar hierarchy. But she's been thinking about if there's anything she can do, you know, if she did have to go back to her parents and her family, and if there was any way of providing for Florence and for Sarah, if there was any way of siphoning money to them or of giving them a job or any way of helping them. But ultimately she knows that the only way for her to have an income of her own choosing is to do as her parents wanted and to get married to one of the men that they wanted for her. And so she's just sort of weighing up selfish desires versus, you know, this desire to protect her friends and to do anything that she can to protect them. And she's not sure what she'll do. And I think that she knows when it comes to it, it will be, you know, something that she'll know what to do in the moment. But for now, she's just hoping that somehow something comes right the way that Marigold always tells her to trust that it will. But for now, she's just humming her carol to herself and arranging the berries and the leaves.
And that will be your day, lost in contemplation as you decorate the monastery. Go ahead and make the next D6 roll for me. We'll see how many days pass.
1.
A single day. We go to the 22nd, traditionally the winter solstice, and we return to Sister Marigold. Tradition dictates that on this particular day, you know the next couple of days are going to be the busiest time for this monastery, especially since the community at large knows it's probably going away. So this is Sister Marigold's last chance for the week to make sure everyone understands their responsibilities, duties, and make sure their hearts are locked in so they can serve the community. Go ahead and pull your card for me, Marigold.
The King of Clubs.
The King of Clubs. So you are going to go about your day-to-day duties. What does Sister Marigold do as the abbess of the convent to make sure everyone is ready for the Christmas rush?
Well, she does what she always does, which is very little. She spends her time sort of directing others to do the things that are required, while she goes through the books, making sure everything's tallied up, you know, stock and coins and ins and outs, incoming sales, outgoing wine, etc. And she works her magic over the figures as she's wont to do, with her little glasses, and she's just got her little quill-tipped pen, and she's just sort of dotting I's, crossing T's, adding up all the numbers that are going off to Father Archibald. So he's, the local bishop that keeps an eye on the finances of this place. While meanwhile, all the more sprightly sisters, of course, all have tasks to do with getting into not tithing, the other one, but when you're giving out lots of food, because we're expecting a lot of people knocking on the door in the next few days. The line's already started, of course. It started with that little girl just a few days earlier, a week earlier, and the door knocking has only got more frequent since then. But she knows we have plenty to spare. We always have a good bounty of the harvest. And this year's been no different. We've been very fortunate, been very blessed. But yeah, she's mostly spends the day in her office by the fire. Sisters coming in and out, bringing her paperwork and more logs for the fire and stuff. And she's just working on those accounts.
In your office, is there a book or journal or record that Sister Marigold might have that would be distracting from her day-to-day tasks?
Well, I think after all this time, there's so many different things in her room. Everything that she keeps. You don't live to 107 and keep everything. You keep the things that mean something to you. So there's a small furnace blasted cup that's not made very well, sitting beside a couple of small diaries. And her eyes are sort of drawn to those now and then.
What would be in that diary?
But she doesn't know. She's never read it. But it belonged to someone that she was very close to for a while. But she's never undone the little ribbon that ties it up, because that would be not be the right thing to. This was a private diary, but she's always kept it as a sort of memento.
Then the last question I'll ask you, and no is a complete sentence and a valid answer here. Does 107-year-old Sister Marigold finally untie that diary or leave it be?
Not today.
Not today. Dutiful to the very end. Continues about her day-to-day, make sure the books are equal, the finances are correct, maybe covers up for some of the more frivolous actions of some of her favorite sisters who took food and drink to certain people without checking in first, but that's fine. We are a convent after all. And we go on to our next day. Go ahead and roll the D6 for me, Sarah.
3.
Oh.
That's almost a 1.
Christmas Day. Christmas
No.
Day is upon us. And I will have each of you draw a card, all 4.
I'm gonna cry.
Speak up if you have a heart card as of right now.
I do.
Okay. So that would be Florence and Sarah with the hearts, and Marigold and Matilda with the clubs. So, Matilda and Marigold. It is Christmas Day, and that means a few different things. We've got morning, afternoon, and midnight mass that gets delivered at the convent. We have several people lining up for food. We have people just looking for some spirituality in their life. Maybe they're bringing the kids. Maybe it's Christmas, so you have to go to church today. No, stop arguing with me. It's the one day we go. What is... we'll start with you, Matilda. What is your Christmas Day duty? Are you on kitchen? Are you on staff? Are you taking care of children? Are you teaching? What's your job?
I think Matilda's on kitchen and on doling out the food. Specifically, like, to the people who are coming to be fed, not to the nuns.
Is there anyone in that line that stands out to you?
I think it's more just the fact of the line itself, and the reminder of the outside world, which is kind of slowly encroaching on what has been complete isolation from the outside world for years. And yeah, she's looking in the face of every young person who looks hungry and, who looks like this might be the best meal they've had in a long time. And she's seeing the faces of her friends. And yeah, it's all those future worries for the people that she loves coming back, but she's trying really hard to stay in the moment and just enjoy the fact that right now, on this day, this is her duty, and this is something that she's glad she gets to do.
And you do it gladfully. It fills your day, it fills your heart. Sister Marigold, I'm going to ask you a very pointed question. Since you've noted that your day-to-day responsibilities are not much, you did your job, you did it well, the books are balanced, the finances are delivered, the sisters are doing their job, no one is rebelling, and we find you in the garden. The only question I'll ask you for this Christmas Day session is, did you feel the divine in your work?
I think she's come to believe that the divine is, it's not so much that magical bright light feeling, it's the waking up every morning knowing that yesterday you did your best. And every small little change that you've made in someone's life is a step forward in their own journeys.
I'm gonna cry.
And so she's quite content in the garden. As a little robin comes and lands on the arm of her little chair, and she pushes out a little crumb towards it, and it sort of takes a little peck and flies off with the whatever it was, probably a biscuit. She doesn't eat biscuits, but she always has them in her pocket.
Just in case of birds. That brings me to our heart cards. On Christmas Day, you got to do your job. It was busy as anticipated. You are ragged. You worked your tails off to make sure this was the most special one the convent had, and you succeeded. The doors are closed, the doors are locked, you are going to bed. I'm going to politely allow Matilda to fall asleep. Whether she chose to or just head hit the pillow and she was out is up for anyone's guess, but Sarah and Florence, you remain up and have an opportunity to speak privately.
I know what you're thinking.
I doubt it. Alright, what am I thinking?
I don't want to say now.
Well, go on. What did you think I was thinking?
I'm sure you can imagine.
Oh, you thought that since she's asleep, you can have some one-on-one time? Shameful.
I have something that I need to say. I'm trying to get the courage to say it for weeks now, and I thought I might as well do it today, though.
If you say Merry Christmas to me, right?
Oh no, I said that this morning. I'm going back home. Been thinking about it, and I've decided I want to go back to my old life.
I mean, it makes sense. It's safer than being sent somewhere else, I suppose.
That's not what I thought you were going to say.
What did you think I'd say?
I thought you would try to convince me otherwise. Perhaps I hoped you would convince me otherwise.
And I want to. I want to beg you to stay. I want to beg everyone to stay. But you've got somewhere safe to go. And I just want whatever's best for you. And it's actually not fair because neither of you were supposed to mean anything to me. I thought you were just a bit of fun.
That's what I thought as well.
And it's not fair. You're not allowed to come in and steal my heart and then leave me. I'm sure that she's going to do the same because it makes the most sense. But I don't have a home to go to. So just... find someone lovely. And make sure that you two get to stay together. And maybe I'll come and visit. If you will finally tell me where it is that you're from. We can have secret nights again.
I can make you a souffle.
The sun rises as you're talking. Oops. The Christmas season done and over. The final week in the monastery upon you, your chores are dwindling, your things to do remain empty. Sister Marigold holed up in her office, and everyone's going to get one final thing to do. For our 3 sisters, I'm going to give you the opportunity to write a letter. And there are 3 possible things you can choose to write your letter to. You may choose to write a letter to home, explaining whatever you want to explain to them, that you will be coming back, that you won't be coming back, that you're a ridiculous lesbian in this polycule of nuns, whatever you want to tell your home base. You may also choose to write a letter to another convent, asking them to take you on as a nun, explaining your experience in the current convent, and include any detail you deem fit for them to bring you on. The last option, as you may have guessed, will be a private letter you can write to any of your sisters, and that can be any of the 1, 2, or 3. So I leave it up to you. Whatever you write in the letter will dictate your character's epilogue, and then we'll go right into those. For you, Sister Marigold, you get to hang tight. We'll give you your own special outro after the letters have been performed. So I will give you the moment to contemplate where you want to send your letter and what you want to put in it. I'll give you a minute to dictate it. Whenever your character feels prepared, go ahead and begin dictating. Go ahead, Sarah.
So, it's addressed to Matilda and Florence, like, together. And this letter isn't passed to them, it's left on the pillow. And it says, by the time you're reading this, I will have left. I couldn't bear to say goodbye because that means it's truly happening. I am so deeply in love with the both of you that I would ever feel anything that intense ever. Unfortunately, I've decided to return to my family to help with the family business, make them proud of me. That if I never see them again, I'm going to be very, very disappointed. So my address is included in that letter, and I say to them, feel free to correspond whenever you want to. Feel free to show up. I won't make you pay for any of the cakes. And I will see them again soon, one day. At the bottom of the paper, there are 2 like lipsticked kisses, one for each of them.
The letter is left on their pillow. We'll see what happens with that later.
My letter will say something to the effect of, "My dear Sister Marigold, to you I owe everything. My life before you let me in was nothing, and I shall thank you for it for as long as the Lord will let me. I don't know what the future is to hold, and I have this feeling that you're not coming with us. So I shall hold you in my heart forever. I don't know where I will be sent, or if anywhere would accept me. But wherever I end up, I know that I'll be safe with you watching over me. And I hope that you won't find all of my sins quite too sinful. Because I don't think it's sinful to love people. And I think whatever love you had for your friends was wonderful. And I think the love that I have for mine is unmatched. If I am separated from them, I don't know what I'll do. But as you always say, the sun will rise again tomorrow. So make sure you do your best today. All my love, Sister Florence.
Where do you leave your letter?
I think in one of the few times that she's not in her office, I will have gone in and placed it on the desk for her.
Perfect. And then, Matilda, whenever you're ready.
Alright. I know what I'm gonna do. I just want to confirm with you, Morne. Would you have in the time that passed between Christmas Day and now, would you have told Matilda your plan to go home?
I think I left on Christmas Day.
Okay.
You were asleep.
Yeah.
After we had one last night together.
Yeah.
Of course.
Okay, yeah, that worked. So Matilda is going to have written to a convent, and she will have meticulously researched one nearby, one that sounded, as nice a place to live as any, although she knows, it's hard to get a gauge of these things from text. And she will have written trying to advertise herself. She will have written that she's from a very good family, the daughter of a minor French nobleman, of landed English gentry, that she's educated in all manner of things that can be so useful in the running of a convent, that she knows how to balance books, she knows how to organise, she knows how to plan, that she can be an educator for the others. And then she will have written of Sister Florence, and of her ability to raise spirits, of her ability to bring people together, of her generosity and all those values which are so important to living a godly life. And she will have written that they came as a set, and that if they were not to accept both of them, then she would be looking for other places to go, but that she's very grateful for their consideration and hopes that she can count on their charity. And she will have sent that off with however we send our post.
Sure. Listen, I'm not going to be the one to tell you how 1800s mail worked, but we'll just figure that it gets there. So that will be sent off. We will see what happens to you shortly. We are now going to go to the day, the dissolving day, and we're going to open with Sister Marigold. Sister Marigold, I'm going to tell you received Florence's letter. I'm going to presume you've read it.
Mm-hmm.
What happens to Sister Marigold?
Well, Sister Marigold has known that the convent will be closing for a few years now. this is not something you just surprise somebody with. And so she's been cooking the books for quite some time now. Just taking a little 10% off the top, that's the Lord's number. And this has been saved up for. I mean, they're not that many sisters left at the convent, of course, but she's kept a small stipend for each of them. Has all been saved up over the last 2 years. And of course, the sisters all know you can't sneak out of this place without her knowing. So as Sister Sarah left, her bag was slightly heavier than she would expect it to have been, as was Sister Florence's. As is every sister who has left early. It's not been something she's spoken about or anything. It's just been quietly slipped into everybody's belongings on this final day. Or earlier, should they have left earlier. So she's in her office, as always, just, minding her own business. Everything is just a normal day as far as looks can be, aside from sort of the arrival of various carriages, I suppose, that have been organised to pick people up. And of course, the bishop, she's expecting him to arrive at some point to perform some sort of ceremony, whatever. She's ruminating the words that she has for him. And she sits there with her little, this diary on her lap in her hand, which she gets a bit of strength from.
So I'll ask the final question for you here, Sister Marigold. You've done everything you could. You're holding on to the diary. Your meeting with the bishop went about as well as you could expect, given the circumstances. How do we say goodbye to your character? What is the last thing we see you do? And what happens to you after?
Well, I think she... all the sisters are outside in the courtyard, and Sister Marigold steps up out of her little chair very carefully with her little walking stick thing. She gently approaches everyone, and as each sister sort of bends down, she gives them a kiss on the forehead, tells them that she loves them. And this is down the line of perhaps only 12 to 15 sisters now. And then she's helped into the carriage by a couple of strong-looking men, I suppose. The bishop stands there watching, then he gets in afterwards. The last thing you see is the carriage exiting the convent, and a raising pitch of a woman giving a man a piece of her mind. You can't quite pick out. There were some words you've never you've never heard leave Marigold's mouth in anybody's life. That'll be the last you see of her. She does not make it to the end of her journey. Expended her energies on the bishop. How disappointed she was in the way he'd conducted himself. And she felt she was at peace then. So she moved on.
Did she ever read the diary?
She's never needed to read the diary. Just knowing it's there, knowing that these thoughts and feelings of this Sister Magdalene. So she held on tightly to this diary that was thoughts and feelings of her first love, all bundled up into one small book with a little ribbon tied around it. And as she leans back in this carriage and her hand loses its grip, the book falls onto her lap, and she breathes her last with a small smile on her face.
Sister Marigold lets go of the last emotion she had left and passes on. I will take the liberty, if you'll allow me, to let you know what happens to our other three sisters here. The convent that Matilda writes to meets the demand. They allow Florence and Matilda to come as a duo to the new convent, possibly out of the touchingness of the letter that was written and the clear love of the Lord that was present, partially out of the opening paragraph that said, "Hello, my family is very rich." So they come as a pair, and on a future date at another chapel, funeral arrangements are made for a Sister Mary, who you now realize is your Sister Marigold. And of course you're invited to attend that, and it is catered by a local bakery. And the three of you get to reunite one final time, not secretly, mind you, but in a public setting at a wake. And I will give you one last scene together.
Oh, when you said that we were going to get free food, I didn't think this is what you meant.
God. I miss you two so much. I've missed you.
How's life been? I hope you've been lots of trouble for them.
Of course. Strange, though. It doesn't feel the way it used to. Constantly thinking about you two. How's your new place?
I think somebody pulled some strings so that I was taken with them.
I don't know what you're talking about. It's a wonderful establishment, but there's no Sister Marigold.
There's no you. The garden's nowhere near as nice. But we share a room with less people.
Has its perks. I do miss you terribly. But I understand.
I'll never stop loving you.
I'll never stop loving you. Perhaps I'll get into trouble and be sent away again.
I hope so.
If you do, you know which convent to come to. And you know that you'll be welcomed. You'll be safe. If you do feel like committing any sins.
The only sins I want to commit are with you two.
I don't think we'll be allowed to sneak away this time. And Florence hugs you very tightly. And while her face is like hidden in your hair, she's going to very gently give you a kiss. And you've never felt her be that gentle, ever. And then you hear like a slight sob. And then she lets go of you.
I take both of your, one hand each of yours, give them a very gentle squeeze. I want to try a souffle.
Heard a lot of things about it.
Come follow me.
As the three of you enjoy a souffle together, your time here does eventually run out. Back to convent life, back to a bakery, back to regular life. Whatever happens to you afterwards, well, not my call, I suppose. But that is the story of what happened at the Sacred Order of Our Lady of the Blushing Trinity. And that'll be our session today.
It's really
Is it really
broken
a session with the damsels if we're not all sobbing by the end?
That's really broken.
I
me.
really thought this was going to be lighthearted, guys.
I knew it wouldn't be.
I feel like it was. Just in like a real, like, you know, kind of sweet, sad kind of way.
You were showing up at one point. You would, yeah.
Oh,
Like,
We got him.
I saw you.
Sister Marigold.
Was it at the end?
I don't know, but there was a point I was like, oh, we've all gone now.
I think that character's gonna go down in GMM history, Lyndon. Well done.
She was beautiful.
She was
I'm gonna cry. I'm sorry. I actually can't talk about her again. Oh my god.
Well, I guess I'll, if I can pull myself together, here's shit. That was And They Were Dortermates. Again, that game is created by the incredibly talented Jessica Markram. A link to the game is in the description. Make your friends cry. It's fun. Do it.
Yeah,
Highly recommended. Damsels in Dicestress, thank you so much for coming on in your entirety to play this game here with us. Whoever wants to be your spokesperson, where can we find more of you?
That's fine. I'll pull myself together. You can find more of us at Damsels in Dicestress on YouTube and Twitch. That's where you can watch everything else we put out, primarily Demons and Daughters, which is our Regency era D&D 5e actual play, where you can see more of us being gay and sobbing. It's our whole bag. If
It's
you
our whole
enjoyed
thing.
this episode, you will like our show. And you can find us on socials at Damsels in Dicestress on Instagram and TikTok, and Damsels D&D on Twitter and Blue Sky, where you will find more of us now.
Fantastic. And if I may editorialize, one of my very favorite shows on the internet. I love Damsels in Distress. I wanted to bring them on for the show for a very long time. I'm a day one fan of the show. Damn straight. Listen, you said Regency era and I was there, and then you said we're also gay, and I was like, I'm even more there than I was previously. Marvelous show. So happy to have you on. Been wanting to play this game for a long time, and I think we found the perfect people to play it. For those of you who this might be your first episode, or maybe you're Damsels in Distress fans wandering over here, hi, we're Game Master Monday. We do a new one-shot and a new system every episode. Every 2 weeks you get something from us. Stick around, we're a lot of fun, and sometimes we're even really sad like we are today. But thank you so much for playing. We will see the rest of you in 2 weeks. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you for coming on. It's been so lovely.
Yeah. Fuck you, actually.
Lyndon. What would you do?
That's how I want to go out. Can we be real? I want to go out cussing out a bishop. Maybe I'll be so fortunate.